Yo, welcome back to the Zen Lounge. I hope you guys are excited for today's video. I've been making a video every single day, so make sure to turn your notifications on, subscribe to the Zen Lounge, and stay tuned for all the video content that I have coming your way. I highly suggest starting and catching up before watching this video with my talks about the cyber attacks in Las Vegas, most importantly, the southern border, and the recent video I did on Stellar and the humanitarian aid. Because it's all going to start connecting. It's all the dots are going to start coming together. And when you start looking at the problems of the world today, you'll start learning that there's actually already a solution in place that the elite, the biggest players in the world, yes, biggest players in the world, what a lot of people call the elite, are in bed with Stellar. And I'm going to show you undeniable proof of that. Everyone will agree that these are some of the biggest players in the world. And yes, they are partnered in bed with Stellar XLM. So we're going to talk all about that in this video. Let's first start with the problem. I'm sure you guys have seen. I wanted to show you guys, the last video I made was about the southern border. This is a much bigger problem than just the southern border. This is a worldwide global problem. So not only are basically migrants coming in droves to the southern border, I showed you guys videos in my last video evidence. I showed you proof in the last video of what's happening at the southern border. But in Italy, there is an island. 10,000 African migrants just landed overnight on an island where the population only holds 6,000 native people. So they are overwhelmed with migrants in Italy on an island called Lampedusa. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. But last week, more than 10,000 migrants made an incredibly dangerous journey to the island, creating yet another migration crisis. So all over the world, there are migration crises. And I don't know if you guys know this, but for a long time, hundreds of thousands of phones, smartphones, have been given to some of these people in these migrant crisis situations. So this is going to paint the picture to Stellar Aid, right? After my video, there's a bunch more evidence coming out. The governor of Texas has officially declared an invasion at the border. So there's also a huge crisis happening in the United States. Also, the Biden administration has agreed to make roughly 470,000 Venezuelan migrants eligible for work permits and easing the financial strain on major migrant destinations. So they basically already given 470,000 work permits to Venezuelans. Remember the video I just made on the southern border? People were saying they're from Venezuela. Now you see why they want to come over here. So there's been a shocking 3.8 million migrants that have entered U.S. since Biden took office. 1.5 million of those, basically half, have snuck in secretly. And this is all painting the picture because now when all this is happening, Stellar announces exciting news. Stellar Foundation joins the World Economic Forum's Humanitarian and Resilience Investing Initiative as a sole blockchain representative. Together, we're using blockchain for global good. Learn more about the mission below. The CEO says a proud supporter of the World Economic Forum's Humanitarian and Resilience Investing HRI initiative. SDF, Stellar Development Foundation, envisions a world transformed by blockchain technology where aid dependency diminishes and sustainable solutions flourish in frontier markets. So yeah, Stellar is dominating. They also sold out their conference, the Meridian Conference. And they're also just partnered with the World Economic Forum. Just yesterday, I was talking about the humanitarian aid program, and then the next day, we get this bombshell that they partnered with the World Economic Forum. Let's look more about this. So Stellar joins WEF's Humanitarian Resilience Program. And Stellar Development Foundation is a proud supporter of the World Economic Forum's. The initiative is meant to address systemic challenges confronting like 2 billion individuals enduring poverty and insecurity worldwide. So when you start seeing all these migrants that are traveling from country to country, how hard would it be for them to open up a bank if they don't really even have a location that they have, a license? They can't open up a bank account. But if you give them a smartphone, I have a video from Danielle showing that if you give them a smartphone, within a couple of minutes, they could download a Stellar wallet and they could check if they're eligible for humanitarian aid from the biggest people in the world. United Nations, World Economic Forum could give them aid via their smartphone. Boom. And then they could go, there's over 300,000 off ramps with MoneyGram that Stellar is affiliated with. They could then go take their smartphone that they were given, become eligible for aid, go to a MoneyGram, cash out, use the cash that they cash out to go and pay for things, food, water, everything they need to keep going. And, this is happening. Nobody even knows that Stellar XLM exists. I'm going to show you that they're partnering with the biggest people in the world. So let's keep going. SDF's decision to align with the HRI initiative stems from a shared vision to leverage blockchain power to bring tangible solutions to the real world problems. We're seeing real world problems happen right now with these migrant crises. Cell Development Foundation mission is to make financial infrastructure more inclusive, easier to access, and affordable to all. Their goal is to mobilize $10 billion in capital by 2030 to empower local businesses and frontier markets. Aligns with their ethos by driving sustainable market solutions that reduce dependency, enhance community resilience, and blah, 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 blah. And if we go to we can read more straight from the WEF. The top organizations call for new partnerships to mobilize $10 billion to support the most vulnerable communities. And there's 50 different organizations that are part of this. And if we look right here, you'll see Stellar, but there's something more pretty I could show you guys here. So the Humanitarian Resilience Investing. We are calling on humanitarian and development organizations, donors, governments, development finance, institutions, foundations, investors, investment facilitators, and corporates to join forces to mobilize $10 billion in USD commercial and catalytic capital to enable 1,000 businesses to scale in frontier markets by 2030. If we scroll down here, you'll see that Stellar is connected with MasterCard in this list. You'll see UBS, the UNICEF, the World Food Program, a bunch of United Nations affiliates, some Swiss organization, some of the biggest organizations in the world are part of this initiative. MasterCard, IKEA, the Danish Refugee Council, Circle, what is this? Just so many big names that you guys have probably seen before are on this list. And Stellar is in bed with them, helping them with humanitarian solutions. And, the USA's involved, UNICEF, we mentioned that, but these are the biggest, huge organizations. Everybody knows the United Nations. So this is my video on Stellar. I'm going to play this video for you guys after. So enjoy this video and start seeing how the end game is going to be played. So guys, everybody have an awesome day.
What always struck me when I visited conflict-affected communities is that despite the fact that they are poor and marginalized, there is a lot of economic activity ongoing. There is a lot of entrepreneurship.
As a refugee, I have all documents. I am a full entrepreneur. My business is well registered, but when I teach to access to capital, it is very difficult because of my status, which is a refugee.
We have a huge potential in those contexts of people with innovative ideas, with entrepreneurship, but without sufficient capital and in unfavorable conditions.
What we need to provide is capital flow. We need to give the local entrepreneurs tools and systems to provide their services and products on the local markets.
We have talent, we have different skills from our home country and also from what we are gaining in the refugee camp.
If we look at numbers, roughly 2 billion people are in what we call frontier markets, poor, conflict-affected, marginalized in middle-income countries, underserviced by the markets. So it's 1/4 of everybody living on that planet.
Investors often shy away from frontier markets because There's a perception of lower returns.
We need to change the way we deal with humanitarian situation.
Aid does not do the trick. Aid is limited to highly disruptive moments in societies. Changing the economic conditions around how we help, how we encourage and support those in frontier markets who try to turn challenges into opportunity is absolutely critical.
What we need to do is bring different actors together to think about a humanitarian situation as not only a crisis situation, but a development situation. We need government, we need private sector, we need civil society, we need philanthropy, and we need investors to come together to make this work.
I do believe there's a good business case for investment in these markets. With technology, digitization, lower priced goods, logistical advantages, there is great potential.
If we can enable everyone around us to have the tools they need to be the very best that they can be, to do the very best that they can do for their families and their communities, the world is a better place for all of us.
You will change your life, and also you will change the life of others through employment and through capacity building. It's better to see your life independent.
There is really a fork in the road moment today, and I think we need changes at all levels and rethink of traditional approaches at all levels.